Hello everyone and welcome back to another Stormworks update video. Now in this video we're going to be covering the update as of yesterday, which is 0.7.7. Now as always we'll go over the new features and changes, and finally we'll test a few of them out here in the world of Stormworks. Now if you're enjoying this video, comment below and what else you'd like to see in any of my future videos. While you're there, don't forget that like and subscribe button, and remember to click the little bell icon to be notified of any of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. So all said, let's get straight into it and get started with the update. So the first feature that devs have gone and added this week is going to be the addition of the sea foam to the wildlife. So you can see in a couple seconds here when these guys decide to go and jump off, they will start creating some actual foam and some splashes when they jump in the water, which is pretty cool. Obviously we haven't had that before. The animals have just been gone, and you can see there we've got a splash, and eventually when this guy does decide to swim off, hopefully this guy will decide to swim off. I'm just going to run him off. He will actually start swimming away, and you can see there he has gone and swum away, but when he does come up back to the water, we should see some splashes and also a little bit of foam. So that is new to the game. We didn't have it before, and it is a cool little feature. Obviously you could see there when he jumped in, we did have a little bit of splash. Now moving on to the next feature, we have that the devs have gone and added the keep active block here in the mission editor, so you can obviously go and make any objects you want to obviously go and keep it active. Along with that, that will also go and spawn in as soon as you load the game. You do not need to reload any missions, you don't need to load any vehicles. Those things will automatically go and get reloaded as long as you have the keep active here, or if you have the actual block itself inside the creation. So a nice little cool feature, obviously quite useful for creating some nice complex missions. This means when you travel from one tile to the next tile, your things will obviously keep loaded in, they will not disappear. Once again, quite useful if you are setting up any automated systems. So if you, for example, getting a ship to automatically go from one island to the other island where you're not on the ship, this can be achieved by obviously using that keep active block. Now, moving on to the next feature, obviously following last week's update, we had the addition of the laser distance sensor. Now, with the laser distance sensor, we could obviously go and use this laser to measure anything up to 2,000 meters and distance between us and that object. So that was a really cool addition, and obviously I've seen some really cool examples on the workshop already of this. I've already gone and utilized it in my ROV, but I can see it being used in a whole bunch of different things. Now, the first thing they've gone and done is they've actually added the wavelength onto that. This, as far as I can tell, acts like kind of like a channel, so you tell it what channel, what wavelength it needs to be working on. So it does require you to have this. You cannot obviously operate it without that. So that's something new that they've gone and added. Now, along with that, there's two additional components they've added in with this update. The first one is going to be the laser beacon. Now, this works exactly the same as a laser distance sensor itself. However, instead of actually having the laser, you have now a beacon. So it's just a normal light block. As you can see, we can place it down. We just place it down just over here. It looks like a normal light block. It does have the option to go in infrared, so if you don't want to see any light on it itself, that is quite useful. Now, the reason why we've added that in is for the next reason, because we have this component, the laser point sensor. This will go and read where you have a laser point. So obviously it can be a beacon, or it can come from actual laser itself, and it will then output. First off, it's going to say, well, is there an on and off, depending. That will output on channel 1. And we also have if where it's going to be on the X and Y axis relative to where you are, or where you are to the actual sensor itself. So we have the sensor over here. Now, once again, you can see it has a wavelength. It also has a data output, as I was just talking about. On channel 1, on the on-off is going to be obviously the on-off if it's receiving a point or not. Along with that is it also has channel 1 and 2 on the number. Channel 1 is going to be the x-axis, and channel 2 is going to be the y-axis, so obviously relative to yourself. It also then has a field of view, which obviously you can see in front of you. It is obviously named here if you guys want to go into it and double check it. Now, going into the actual logic of these things, you can see we have an on-off for the beacon light itself. We have the composite, which is the wavelength for the beacon light. We now obviously also have the wavelength, which is the composite for the laser distance sensor. And we also have the wavelength of the point sensor itself. And then we also have the data output of the actual sensor. Now, it works like a camera. It says, well, hey, is there a point anywhere between it? Yes, there is. No, there isn't. And where is it? So you can see here, hovering over that, you can see on off is channel 1, is laser detected, and then number channel 1 and 2, X and Y position with the sensor itself. Okay, so yeah, nothing crazy with that. Quite self-explanatory in there. doesn't look that different in comparison to obviously the laser. It's one block shorter and obviously has a flat surface in comparison to having a lens in it. Now I can see this being used for a couple of different things. Missile targeting systems could be one of them. We could also do for the drone to position it exactly right where we want to. As I said, I'm sure we're going to see some really cool examples here on the workshop. Unfortunately, I haven't really managed to think of anything that I could use this for just of yet, or anything that I have in line to build or release. So we'll see where we can maybe fit these in. It might be useful for like a triangling system or some type of system where we can go and position all our vehicles in the map, but we'll see. We'll have to obviously go into that at a later stage. So I think we'll go ahead and end today's video over there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it something entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.